Okay, it's the Mamacita Rica podcast with your girl Lucy Lopez, and I know the intro alone. I have a feeling that my guests, Billy Corben and Alfred Spellman, are going to say something. Be nice about the intro, Billy, but if you have to give it to me, go ahead.
No, it's great to be here. It's great to be here on LSD with you.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have you both here. I feel that both of you equally, and maybe Alfred not as much as Billy, you're both these people that we follow on social media, we follow your work, and then everybody has like a moment of reflection and is like, are they like this for real? Is this real life? How did Billy wake up going moño viral, literally now that you have COVID hair? Is this the Billy that we get on Twitter? Is this the Billy in real life?
Well, there's only one version of me. I'm not a politician, and so there's not like, I mean, yeah, there's me dialed up and dialed down.
Sure.
I mean, me on Twitter is probably me at 11, right?
Okay.
So me in real life is a little bit calmer, but like it's the same shit, just a little bit more fun and laughter, maybe. That's the thing too, is that it's none of it is done in a mean or malicious way. It's done in pursuit of truth. It's done in pursuit of calling people out on their shit, calling out corruption, speaking truth to power. And so that to me is fun. It also scares some people, and I think that's the most important function that we can serve, is that we are blessed to have some kind of platform. And so I think it's very important that when you have that kind of power, you have the responsibility of giving a platform to the voiceless and giving to people who feel too scared to speak truth to power because they think that there's going to be some kind of retribution, or they're concerned for their livelihood or their safety, God forbid. But I'm a firm believer that the people should not be afraid of their government. The government should be afraid of the people.
Yeah, but I don't think that this just started with you. I mean, how long have you and Alfred been friends? Has Billy always been this way, Alfred? Has this been Billy since day one, out the womb, pesado, fajándose con el mundo entero? Like, really?
Well, we met in TV production class in 9th grade at Highland Oaks Middle School.
Nice.
And we've been working together ever since with our third partner, David Sipkin, who Billy has known since they were in preschool, I think. So, this is pretty much it. What you see is what you get. In fact, when we were in high school, we hosted a radio show twice a week on, what was it, Bill? 790 AM?
Waxy
at the time. We got hired to do a radio show twice a week called Teen Talk. We would go on and do like an hour. It was like 8 to 9 Tuesdays and Thursdays. And Billy and I we had carts and we had guests and we took the phone calls. And so, I think we were always looking. Yeah, it was awesome. We were always, looking for an outlet. When we make a movie, we make a documentary. Typically it takes us anywhere from 9 to 12 months, to get to, and sometimes even longer in the case of Cocaine Cowboys, Kings of Miami. That was a 12-year process. So, for us to be able to get our act together and say what we want to say takes us a long time sometimes. And so to have the opportunity to comment on events and things on a daily or hourly or up to the minute basis is certainly something in the 21st century I think we both embraced. So if it wasn't for the radio show, we're glad we have Twitter.
I love that. I think everybody should hear that. If it wasn't for the radio show, something. The reason why I created this podcast is because I feel that there's a lot of young creatives without serious mentorship and like guidance. I think that, we need to band together as a community and be able to help these kids who are coming up in the ranks, and teach them, it's not just about likes. It's not just about the retweets. It's not like you have to put in the work. And I always get asked this question by other podcasters and other people in this industry, like, who was that creative guidance you had in your life? Was it, abuelo? Was it your mom, your dad? Is there an uncle and an aunt in your life that kind of maybe showed you your first favorite movie or showed you how to camera work? Who was that for you, Billy?
Is your camera on like a slider dolly right now? That's very cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is.
very, like a little slide. That's really cool.
Thank you.
So, well, I mean, there's a lot of people. For me, if I had to, I was, when I was a little kid and I was acting and television and films, I worked with Ron Howard, who was himself a recovering child actor. And so that was like a very early inspiration for me that this was kind of a career path. Acting didn't feel like a career path. It felt like a hobby, but seeing that he went from Happy Days and the Andy Griffith Show to being in charge of like the whole movie set was very instructive for me. And then I think for Alfred and I, it was Sheila Spicer, who was our middle school 9th grade television production class teacher, who quite literally handed Alfred and I the keys to the studio, WHOM, W Highland Oaks Middle School, and
Cool, man.
told us, I mean, she really is the one who put us together and said, you guys, she saw something in us and she said, you guys should go and you should produce the morning news every day for the school. And I was an anchor. I did entertainment. Alfred did sports. We both produced, and she was just a very special, she's retired now, but she is a very special lady. And she had a lot of serious impact on a lot of people, young creatives, as you might say, of a previous generation. Brad Meltzer tells a story. Brad Meltzer, who now writes extremely popular children's books. But before that, he was writing legal thrillers. He was a student at North Miami Beach Senior High School, and he had a creative writing teacher. He tells us this story, and his creative writing teacher, on the first day of class, told everyone to write a story. She gave them an assignment in class, and this was so she could gauge the skill level and the talent level of the class. So everybody turned them in. The next day he came to class, got the paper back. His teacher had written at the top, "See me after class." I think we've all gotten that message before.
It's like the worst.
So he goes to see her after class, and she says, "Listen to me." She says, "You have to do the work. You have to do these assignments because I have to grade you in this class, but I want you to sit in the back of the room, and I don't want you to listen to a single word I say."
What?
Because she says, you have a natural talent. You have a gift. And I don't want to teach that out of you. I don't want you to like listen to me and the rules and what I'm teaching the other students. And I don't want you to be discouraged. I want you to do you and do your thing because you are special. You are gifted. You have an innate ability. And now he's a best-selling author. And that teacher was Sheila Spicer.
Wow.
Who later would be our TV production teacher. She's just a special person. And she's just that kind of teacher who identifies talent in people. In our case, put us together, teamed us up, and just encourages you and us in the best possible way.
Do you think that there's maybe some of that missing in Miami? Some of that like grassroots, like, I mean, I know there's a lot missing in Miami, Bailey. Pero like, like I really feel like I sometimes like, cause I've got to, I'm, like I said, I'm doing this cause I'm a mom and I want my kids to see that you could do this. You could create something and it could move someone. It could challenge you. And I can tell that at the school she's at, it's encouraged and it's kind of not encouraged. And I'm wondering if that's what's missing in our city, where creatives are not being fully supported from the seedling all the way up through college. Like, I don't see it. Or am I looking in the wrong spots?
Well, I think that's definitely an issue. But I think there's a bigger issue that we have, which is really we're missing the people who explain the city to us. And, when Billy and I were growing up, I would say the three most influential voices that I could remember are, reading Carl Hyacin in the Miami Herald, the Miami New Times, which at the time was just the alt weekly that was just breaking.
It was amazing.
All the great stories. Yeah, this is
amazing.
Jim DeFede was there, and Tris Cordum and Robert Andrew Powell, like the real Jim Mullen was setting. This was the real heyday. Yeah, that was the real.
Frank Alvarado. He was a little younger.
Frank Alvarado was there. That's right. And then Neil Rogers. And those were kind of the three voices. Those are the three kind of voices that shaped our view of Miami. And I would say that is the bigger thing that's missing, I think, today. The influence of a daily newspaper, of an alt weekly that's out there kicking ass, and of a daily commentator. And so that's kind of the role that we've try to fill in a small way.
So do you feel you're the solution, or is there a solution to this problem? Dímelo
There
cantando.
needs to be more voices. There needs to be more voices.
But they don't. But some of these corporations don't want to hear local voices on the radio.
Are you okay? Are you all right?
Because the Hispanic is strong in this one. Billy, you like that? Kids, just be careful. We're about to go down the rabbit hole. We're taking all kinds of pills right now. One of my favorite things about your movies is the editing, the specific information you throw at everybody that maybe they forgot about or didn't know exist, right? And I'm a nerd. I'll sit and I'll watch your movie and I'm a complete nerd. I studied film at Miami-Dade for about a year and a half. I did the short film circuit for a very long time. And I watch your movies and I'm a fangirl. I sit with popcorn. I'm arguing with the TV. I'm arguing with your subjects. I'm completely blown away by the editing, by what your subject, who, what, when, where, why, all of it. I need to know this as a fan. When you create these these films, are you more interested or more obsessed with the subject, like the one person, all of them? What you guys are talking about? Is it the Cocaine Cowboys, all of them? Was it the woman with the black hair who at the end were like, wait a minute, was she a liar? What is that? Did she just Kevin Space me? Like, what's happening right now? Like,
I don't know you want to. I don't know you want to use that as a verb.
Yeah. Really, but not like in a bad way. Like when he walks out of the unusual suspects. Yeah. Like that's what I'm getting at. Like who are you guys obsessing with? I need to know this. This is stuff that drives me crazy because I'm watching it and I'm obsessed with the cuts, the music you chose, the fact that there's like little cocaine lines in the movie poster, all of it. The fact that you used Neil Rogers in everything blew my mind.
And 537 votes. Yeah, a lot of Neil Rogers and 537 votes. Yeah. No, listen, we named the company Rakontur, which is the phonetic spelling of a French word that means one who tells stories with skill, which is not only something that we aspire to be, but also those are the types of people that we like to tell stories about and tell stories with. Because remember, we don't, knock wood, we've never and have yet to use a narrator in any of our documentaries. It's all first person productions. It's all about I and we, not they and he. And so we like to tell stories about and with and by good storytellers. And so we really try to serve the story. And when there is, when you're doing a documentary about cocaine, there is an aesthetic that you can serve that story with, i.e., white lines in the motion graphics and fast-paced editing and moving cameras and glass bricks and kind of a synth bass line running through the score. In this case, it was kind of like a salsa. Well, all the music was kind of Afro-Cuban and salsa infused, and just so it's a kind of all unapologetically Miami. And then when we did our pot doc, like Square Group or The Godfathers of Ganja. Yes. Shit was just mellow. It was just like earth tones and slow camera moves and shallow depth of field.
That drive to the Everglades and with the grass on the side. And then, that looks so good.
So it's just, and all the fonts were kind of set on burlap sacks and earth tones and the score was like an acoustic kind of Jimmy Buffett vibe. It was done by DJ LaSpam, and so it was like it was
perfect.
Yeah, it just had this. Yeah, it just had a different vibe. So we work to serve the story that we're telling.
But do you sit down and you're like, okay, you're in charge of this. You're in charge. I mean, I know you have a team. Is it a big team? Do you guys work with a big team, or is it just you three? Be honest, please. I need to know all this. This is stuff that's driving me crazy.
We expand and contract as necessary, but it's basically us three. You know, a lot of times.
No way, Alfred. Stop, Mr. Spellman.
David Sitkin, our editor. Billy directs. I produce. We bring on crew, and obviously there's a lot of movies aren't made by just three people, but essentially that's kind of the core creative team. We say a lot of times that we don't do a lot of investigative journalism. We do synthesis journalism. We take things that you already know or stories that you may have followed along with when they were happening, but don't see necessarily the big picture because you can't always see it at the time. So what we like to do is kind of take all of these things that and wrap them into a thesis or a new way of looking at it. When we started making Cocaine Cowboys, the original title for it was City Made of Snow. And because So we smartened up real quick and went with Cocaine Cowboys. But the idea was that we had this thesis, which was that modern Miami was built on the back of the cocaine trade. A major U.S. city was built on the back of the drug trade.
Ay, que pena. When you say it out loud, it sounds so ugly and gross, Alfred. Jeez.
Well, it's not something that the Chamber of Commerce advertised. It's not something you learn in school about the history of Miami. You learn about the Miami Circle and the Seminole War and this and that, but you don't learn about this. And so, we said, did Miami go from God's waiting room to America's Riviera over the course of 50 years on the back of the drug trade? So that was kind of the thesis that we set out to prove there. And so, we stand on the shoulders of so many who, were covering these stories as they happen, whether it's the Herald reporters or it's the local news, or national news people who are down here covering. Obviously we use a lot of archival footage in our doc. So we're standing on the shoulders of the storytellers who are telling it as it happened, and we're coming in now and trying to tell you kind of big picture stories.
So Billy, you still stand by this? You said back in 2013, I saw some quote that I don't know if it's true or not, that you said that all the creative decisions stop with you. Is that entirely true?
Well, what it is that, like you said, filmmaking is like assignment filmmaking. Everybody has to have a role. When you have a company that the core is only really three people, everybody has to do everything, and we all do everything. But on the daily, there's creative shit to do, and there's business shit to do, and there's always editing and post-production. The vast majority of the lifetime of a documentary is spent in editing. Because the moment you start shooting, in some way you're in post-production and starting that editing process in one way or another. So to that end, Alfred handles the business day to day. I handle the creative, and David Sitkin, our third partner, handles post-production and editing. So yeah, that's true. Again, do I do business stuff? Of course. Does Dave do creative? 100%. Does Alfred do creative? Absolutely. But like I said, at some point, I can't be, Alfred can't be calling me about every line of every contract or every release at some point, Alfred has to make a decision. And then on the creative, at some point, I can't call Alfred and listen, should we crossfade here, or should we wipe, or should we fade? Alfred's going to be like, I don't fucking care, whatever you want to, So at some point we have to, the buck has to stop somewhere in each of these areas.
It's a band. Everybody plays their own instrument, but they all have to sound good together. So
I'm not gonna lie. I'm really, really thankful to you both for coming on the show and just hanging out with me for a few minutes. I really appreciate it. I love all the filmmaking, all the films you guys put out, and I just love it. It's like I eat it up. I love it. It tastes like so Miami to me. And I've spoken to a lot of people.
Speaking of which, I'm sorry. What's on your desk to your left there? What?
This?
No, to your other left.
This?
Yeah. What is? No. There's it looks like there was food or so. I can't tell. No, there's a box or something.
No. Oh no, these are sunglasses. It's a little something. It's a joke between me and my girlfriends, and I just left them out here for jokes.
All right. I was just curious. I couldn't see.
I have that. I have a horseshoe that Kush Hospitality gave me. I have a Rolodex. I have cafecito, and I have a knife. Really?
Naturally. In case Joe Carollo shows up.
Oh man. Oh, I love that. I love that you said that.
Commissioner Coma Mierda.
Ay, come on, Comandante Carollo. Come on, B.
What are you going to bleep? We're not in Power 96. Who gives a shit? You don't have to bleep it out.
Listen, I'm fucking cursing all day. It's been 22 years and I haven't been able to say the word shit on a microphone. Yeah. I'm going to say it now. You know,
no dump button. There's no dump button. There's no 7-second delay.
There's no dump button on a podcast. There's no such thing as I have my knife. I'm prepared because I live in Hialeah. You never know who's going to walk in through the door. I saw this whole thing.
Could be the mayor.
No.
Got to protect yourself.
Well, he is a cowboy. Billy, I do have a question for you, and Alfred as well. I saw this whole thing that just came out in the Herald about the best filmmakers to watch in Miami. And I was wondering, why is it, and do I have to go all the way to watch a local film at O Cinema? Or can I just go to Netflix and pick up my Xfinity remote and say, let me watch a Miami movie? Like, guide the Mamacita Rica. I am the mom. I guess I'm Cuban. I swear I know it all, but I really don't. I just have a Rolodex full of friends who do. Where can we watch these movies? Who do we need to be supporting right now in that realm? What happened? Is he reading a text message?
I don't know. Well, how the hell should I? I mean, where are they? I just go to the Night Owl.
Okay. The Night Owl.
Not really local movies, but no. The Night Owl Drive-In movie theater in downtown Miami.
But that's what I want. Really, I want you to tell me this. Where do I take my kids to watch like local movies, like things created by the 305?
Oh, that's not. I mean, Naib doesn't really play local movies per se there, but like it's kind of a fun local kind of scene and a great kind of cool shit we don't usually get in Miami, especially because it's like an urban drive-in. It's like right in the middle of downtown rather than like a secluded, kind of drive-in that's usually out by the swap shop or whatever.
But no, like local filmmakers, I should be paying attention to.
Well, Filmgate for sure in downtown Miami. Filmgate has really gone the extra mile for years now, trying to build a viable film community, trying to put together writers and shooters and editors and actors and people who are looking to work here. And then they do screenings and they do workshops in their very cool offices in downtown Miami. So Filmgate is definitely trying to build and has been very effective at doing what you're talking about. And then having festivals and screenings that celebrate almost exclusively local filmmakers and short films made by and for Miamians.
All right. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Lucy. I was just going to add on to that. When we started out, when we were, our first doc premiered at Sundance in 2001. We were the youngest filmmakers ever invited to Sundance, the only ones ever from Miami at the time. And everyone said, you guys going to New York?
Good for you, Alfred.
Well, everybody said, are you guys going to New York or LA? And we said, no, we're coming back to Miami to tell stories from our hometown. The way that Spike Lee tells New York stories or Marty Scorsese tells New York stories. We want to come back and tell Miami stories, because when we were growing up, it was just big Hollywood productions. It was Bad Boys and The Specialist and The Birdcage. There were all these big Hollywood movies in Miami, Ace Ventura, but nobody was kind of telling the local, the local version of the Hyacins and the Edna Buchanans and the Dave Barrys, people who had kind of just made a career off of telling fantastic South Florida stories. And over the years, there have been other filmmakers. I mean, obviously we had Moonlight a few years ago, and there are other films here, but it's just like any other media business in the 21st century, we caught kind of the last wave of old media and were able to kind of get a toehold, in that arena. It's even harder now to break through with all of the choices and all of the options for content and to make a name for yourself and to make a living doing this. So, I think that's part of why you probably have such a challenge finding, good Miami stories to watch, because they're hard to make and they're hard to make.
So hard to make, man. I just feel sometimes that
I'm sorry. No, I did want to add that when we started out, the Miami Film Festival was not a place that celebrated local film and did not insane? Really. Yeah. And it was, but now, with Jay LaPlante, with Tom Powers on the documentary side, it is night and day. It's been a total pendulum swing, a true transformation of putting Miami into the Miami Film Festival. And there has been an absolute commitment, not like lip service. Yeah, and not lip service, and not a special category, and not a special night, but a legitimate inclusiveness. And a celebration of the diversity of Miami voices, and booking Miami movies in all categories, docs and in scripted and narrative work, and celebrating it in the best possible way, which is to say, not treating it as its own genre, but saying that these are just legitimately exceptional filmmakers by talented films by talented storytellers, and putting them in their proper context. And so the Miami Film Festival now is a wonderful place. Again, that's only once a year, and then there's the gem screenings on occasion, but there's a real commitment there to celebrating Miami filmmakers.
That's great to hear, because I do remember those days of going to like the Miami Film Festival and be like, why is there nothing created by anyone here that I remotely recognize? Like, what is up with that? And I grew up at a time where being a Miami creative was like sort of shit on, like, oh, you're from my oh wait, and you're from Hialeah? Ew. And I never understood
let me tell you
that.
something. Alfred and I, when we went to Sundance, the Sundance Film Festival. As Alfred said, we're the youngest filmmakers in the history.
Billy.
We were the youngest. I like that. That's like a cart. I like it. It's like, oh, good for you, Billy. And so when we did that, we were real filmmakers. We had a company. We had a movie that was on the front page of the New York Post. But I got to tell you something. This is back in like the late 90s, early zeros in Miami. We kind of felt embarrassed having business cards that said like filmmaker, producer, director, because it felt like there were so many posers and so many fake until you make it hustlers that we were like almost, even though we were really actually filmmakers and producers, we almost felt like, we felt like embarrassed, like, oh yeah, like of course you're a filmmaker and a director, like everybody else in town, like.
I know how that feels. I remember trying to get like a production assistant job on a couple of films being made here in Miami, and I didn't want to put that I was from Hialeah. It was like I didn't want that on my resume, because I thought if I say that I'm from Hialeah, the moment I open my mouth, they're going to pass judgment. They're not going to give me a shot, and that was all of my college life until I got to Power 96 and I was able to create this Lucy Lopez persona off of what I consider my muse, the Hialeah girl. She'll always be my muse. And yeah, kind of like the city of Miami is your muse, Billy. Hialeah girl to me is like I can write stories and stories and stories for her, and I don't feel it hasn't been until recently where that character is being embraced. So I totally understand what it feels like not to be able to, really, hey, yeah, I am actually, I'm this, I'm that. For me, I was like, look, I gotta lie about this, I gotta lie about my last name, and if I can maybe talk a little white, I might get hired. So I totally get where you're coming from, Billy. You gotta preach to me, Poppy. I mean, Billy. Billy, I really want to thank you for coming on the show. Alfred, thank you so much. Continue making these badass movies. Continue inspiring us. And Billy, just promise me one thing, that you do self-care Sundays. Do you? Do you do self-care Sunday?
Like a cat, I sit at home cleaning myself. Like,
yes,
what
Billy.
Is self-care? What does self-care Sunday mean?
Billy,
yeah, I don't go.
Billy, that you wake up on Sunday, that you put away the phone, that you put a mask on, and that you watch, I don't know, Bachelor in Paradise or something. I don't know, and chill out.
I don't get my eyebrows threaded three times a week like Mayor Ponzi Postalita, Francis Suarez in Miami. But I mean, what is self-care? I mean.
These are questions that my followers want to know about you, that if you have a self-care Sunday routine, okay, Billy? They want to make sure that when you put away the phone on Saturday night, that on Sunday you take care of you, Billy, because we're worried. We got a little concerned.
Listen, somebody's got to take care of this town, all right? I think it's not our elected officials or our bureaucrats. So justice never takes a day off, Lucy.
I agree with you. You're like a superhero. BC to the rescue. Oh yeah, Alfred, it's really nice hanging out with you.
Like a superhero.
A superhero? I can't say things like that. That's really bad. I'm gonna end up like on Twitter, like people are gonna hate me and stuff. I can't afford that right now. Please, I got a mortgage to pay.
Yeah, you're gonna be the Rick Sanchez of the podcast world.
Please don't wish that on me. Oh my God. I hate you. Just kidding. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being episode 2, Mamacita Rica. Warm thank you to Billy Corben, Alfred Spellman, and everybody else that helps them on the movies, because I'm pretty sure there's like 20 women working on all their films. Am I right about that, Billy? We'll talk about that in season 2.
Yes, behind every man
is a great woman who checks you. She checks you. Tell me she checks you. Come on,
or
Billy.
20 of them. 20 great women.
Do they check your ass? They check your ass. Tell me they check your ass.
Someone's got to keep us in line.
Thank you. That was Mamacita Rica podcast. I'm out.